So how's your body? What's going on in your body right now?
My arms are really like mostly where it's in tension.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel very clear most of the time. I don't usually carry pain, and when I do, I just go right at it to fix it, but allow it to release.
Right.
But there's always pain that I haven't found yet, and then all of a sudden, but I'd say that mostly like in my like elbows, wrists, especially my right wrist.
Okay.
I've just had a lot of like computer work.
Yeah.
That hasn't quite gotten out of my body yet. I feel like there's still, and so that's the only latent thing that I've got is computer work in my arms and shoulders, I guess, and neck a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good.
Other than that,
any health history stuff I should know about? Injuries, accidents?
the only thing is I just got poison oak.
Okay.
It's pretty much cleaned up now. Like, it's very much cleaned up, but shouldn't be transmittable, but
good to know.
Other
not be too aggressive with that.
Yeah,
Skin
right there. Yeah, just right there.
Totally.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
All right. I always have to ask if you've had any history with cancer, and especially surgeries related to cancer. Good. Perfect. And how about, let's just kind of go through the systems of the body one by one real quick, just to kind of mentally check in. I'm sure you seem very embodied, so this is just kind of an exercise.
No, this is exciting. I haven't done this before.
Yeah, so just kind of sweep through, like, is there anything going on with the skin? You already identified like the poison ivy. How about skeleton? A little bit of joint stuff with the elbow.
Yeah, the joints a little bit. Yeah, exoskeletal, I guess, a little bit there.
Any other muscular situations?
No, I think, I mean, like my head,
Mm-hmm.
but like I'll get, knots on my head.
Okay. Yeah, scalp tension.
Yeah, scalp tension stuff. That's probably like the biggest place that I hold like tension, I think.
Yeah. Okay. How about the digestive tract? Normally comfortable for you?
Pretty good, yeah. Okay, almost great. Like confusingly good. Like
nice. Getting away with it.
I can transmute a lot, but like maybe I don't need to do so much transmuting. So
that's awesome.
Getting a little bit more Hawaii with my diet, so lots of full things like that. So.
Any nervous system stuff? Numbness, tingling, history with like anxiety, or
lots of anxiety. Yeah, and I'm currently quitting cannabis.
Okay.
Going on a nice little break.
Easing out, yeah.
Not an easy out. And
I understand.
I definitely am anxious a lot, and I think it's because I just have so much energy.
Okay.
Like I've just always been a very ridiculously energetic person. Like I wake up in the morning,
high output.
To the point where I talk to somebody on the phone and they're like, "Whoa, dude, I just woke up." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." But and I'm like,
yeah. Okay.
So energy is always full usually, or not. Like I can easily just go straight to sleep, immediately just click my fingers, and I'm out of this universe. But my middle ground is work. So like the balance between the
kind full of like aware embodiment rather than like extreme like cognitive and somatic only, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, let's aim for that then, and I'll maybe not totally knock you out, but we'll stay a little bit conversational while we go through the treatment if you like. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay, so we're gonna work on Luke. He is pretty active and hanging out in Hawaii on the mid-range, visiting, off non-visitor, and we just met, so this will be fun. I'm going to check out what's going on in his body. So I'm always trying to kind of capture a sensory environment that is both neutral in that there's nothing happening where your nervous system is spiking up and going into that more sympathetic nervous system state, right? But also full in the sense that the parasympathetic nervous system has a lot of pieces to grab onto so that we kind of get stuck in that more like saturated sensory layer, if that makes sense. I'm gonna generally start at the feet, partly because it's kind of nice esoteric grounding, of course. symbolic, but it's also really literal in that we're asking the nervous system to send information up and down the longest possible distance. So we just get that fired off kind of at volume. I'm going to open up with some compression. This gives me a chance to compare side to side and notice any pattern differences. So we have a little bit more kind of striated development laterally through the calf.
My calves and just my legs in general pretty tight.
So it sounded like you had read some of my stuff out there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at your YouTube description and freaked out. What? This is so cool.
Thank you.
But and then just pretty much just that, and then I watched a couple minutes of a few random YouTube videos just looking around. What's this going to be like? So yeah, that's about it.
It really varies per session, of course, and I'm absolutely still just kind of building up my routine of how to collect the content on the front end without disrupting what's happening in the treatment, right? Okay, your sacrum is pretty well balanced. A lot of people have a strong tilt one way or the other, but this is a nice textbook presentation. Yeah, right. Always something to celebrate. I use it a lot for kind of the more emotional balancing strategies as well. We get so distanced from our experience with the body, and there's actually a lot in there to anchor into when we're struggling with gratitude and attachment, acceptance, and stuff like that.
I must be doing at least okay with them because that's totally wow.
Yeah, some movement right away there. Still kind of reading for comparison. So on the YouTube description, I kind of went with the more mystical side of the explanation. But historically, I've talked about it a lot more in the sense of the kind of scientific angle, and I've used that more in my marketing of trying to really have a grip on the language to discuss the nervous system really explicitly, and then be there's also energy out there and quantum shit we don't understand, etc. So I'm kind of experimenting more with pulling out that, owning the mysticism, right?
I really like that. So I was everybody can say I can put your body and get massage out, but it's when you're going an extra level, going deeper, literally deeper than even the deep tissue. I'm going to your spirit.
Totally.
Wow, that's a great massage.
Yeah. So I have some complex synesthesia that basically gives me an effect that is like X-ray in that my tactile information that I pick up gets kind of translated through more acoustic information as well. Yeah, so that's a big piece of it's honestly a trait that is not convenient if you have to for instance go into Target ever or there's a lot of aspects where it's kind of a struggle to figure out how to function. But when I was really just assessing my baseline, what am I doing on this planet? What is it about me that's having this entity existence, and what that might be for, right? And so really kind of pulling out the idea of what states do I get into that feel sustainable for a lifetime, right? And I had grown up doing a lot of just kind of colloquial massage, shoulder rubs with my family and stuff, and so I just kind of retuned back into that and was that's a place where my whole self can come alive and my like intuitive level is operating without struggle. So I went back to school and threw everything.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, no, I relate with a lot of that. My ex-wife had a lot of health issues when we first met,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like a forced opportunity to learn a massage. Like her
Oh,
was just
absolutely.
in such excruciating pain. I was like, I just figure it out. Can't make it hurt worse at this point, so try to make it better. And then,
It's such a necessity,
yeah,
especially for people in just like ongoing
yeah,
pain that it's like it can be so isolating on top of the physical experience itself.
yeah. I feel super blessed to not carry pain with me on any regular basis.
Absolutely.
I hear about people like that. Like, oh, what?
Mhm.
What? How do you do it? How do you even exist? I'm amazed that you are willing to. I don't know. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've had some windows of some ongoing, fairly intense chronic pain issues, which are fortunately, again, like you said, I felt really blessed that I got to be in the right places at the right time and connect back into what I needed to support myself out of those states.
Right.
But yeah, I spent a few years, I would say, like most days, level like 5, 6, 7, depending on
Wow.
stimulation also, right? And I really had to learn some additional nervous system strategies to not hit that level of like sensory overload that anyone can get, of course. But it can be really loud for me. So it's motivating.
Totally. It's interesting. So you can kind of see sound.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I can kind of hear texture, and like I get a differentiation between like the layers of tissue inside the body, and so it's like that. I would say is the most typical, but it does sometimes come off as like somewhat more visual, and I get a lot of like visualization of emotions. So like basically I think it's like synesthesia is sort of the like modern, more sciencey language that we're slapping on like aura reading and like the whole history of shamanistic practitioners, or like, right, that there's like, now we're calling it neurodiversity. And it is mechanically neurology that is differing from the average, and it counts. But it's also like we didn't just notice that this is happening. We've been using different language for it like since the beginning of time. So yeah, and I was pretty old before I really understood that it was synesthesia. That like, you know, you're just like a fish in the water, and like I felt mildly confused how come other people weren't responding to information that was obvious to me, but like didn't really have a deep evaluation of like what part of my lived experience was so different from other people. And it actually was like kind of a big emotional process to recognize like they're not ignoring me. Like all these weird little moments that came off as rejection because it seemed like they knew what I needed, because I would know. Like they literally didn't. And I had to like learn a real level of like verbal communication about stuff that normally was like visualized for me.
Wow.
So it's confusing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty confusing.
But I think there are a lot of people out there that are dealing with sensory variation and neurological variation that could be serving them, but that they're, having to mask so hard and put in so much effort to survive target and like go through the normal environments and feeling like, what's wrong with me? So that's like the big piece of my mission moving forward right now. I've got the like baselines of my home, business, family life kind of stabilized, and I expand out into like finding these people.
Which people exactly?
Just all the people who are laying a little bit too far outside of like the conventions of how you're supposed to feel and how you're supposed to exist. And maybe getting told that they have ADHD or autism or whatever, or like personality disorder labels or whatever, but that when you really sit and listen to their experience, I often find that like people are like, they're literally seeing and hearing things differently from other people, like having their cognition really impacted by the patterns of their sensory experience. You don't have to stay awake. You can just
no. Well, I was just thinking about like massage. I feel the pain that people feel. I guess what they call mirror neurons.
Absolutely.
Totally function because I know when I'm hurting someone way before they even usually sense. Like when it's like becoming what's called the sympathetic instead of parasympathetic or whatever, right?
Sure, yeah.
I can always feel
that like activation.
Yep. And I don't know if that's. I just assume that everybody can feel that. Maybe.
Yeah, a lot of people are really not tuned in to, and it's strategic. It's not like they showed up and they didn't have the hardware to detect what was happening in their body. Right. But like they sat through so many circle times in second grade, and so many like being in a church pew, and so many like being in the back of the minivan or whatever, where they were getting told like, stop responding to the signals of your body, stop wiggling, stop expressing noise, stop expressing emotional energy, like just cut that out. And so people are cognitively habituated to holding still and ignoring the signals.
Wow, I love that. Well, I hate it, but I'm sorry you said it. It's nice. It's nice that you call it out. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm around kids right now, which is great. I'm traveling, like I said, love, and then we have two sisters, Lokia and Ya, and we've got two kids, Moses and Solar.
So you're going in kind of as a pack.
Yeah, and it's just so nice to have kid energy because they just express and they move, and then when their mom was like, don't do that, I get to be like, hi, I'm an adult, and I think that your kid might just need to move for reasons, and you just don't tell them no.
I was like, can we make some space
for them
to get this energy expressed in an appropriate way?
He was chasing chickens, and his mom was like, don't chase your chickens.
It was like inevitable.
And I was like, but don't you think that that's kind of getting them both exercise, and they both, he's not going to hurt them, he just.
Right.
I mean, maybe they won't eat as many worms today. I don't know, but
they're really designed to balance based off of like pretty frequent, predator evasion, though. So they're fine.
Just practice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just funny, like little tiny judgments come up and really stifle expression.
Absolutely.
And I'm just really trying to go so slow that I can like talk to the humans that are adults in the situation with nonviolence and say, hey, like maybe there's beautiful expression that needs to express itself, and I hear that you had a need for making sure the neighbors weren't upset or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
But at the same time, you recognize that they had a need too. Things like that. It's just now that I'm the adult, I get to like be the child. Like lawyer almost, like
hey, like show up for them.
Just want to like let you know, like there's different words that you could use that would give your kid that choice, and they would like that.
Totally.
So that they can choose what you want them to choose, but not have to have it forced.
I have kids too, and I feel like it's always such a learning process to like recognize what aspect of like you can be having these intense moments where you're very much like in the right nervous system state, right? Where you're connecting, your mirror neurons are firing off, and you're like looking in their eyes, and you're like, wow, I love you so much, and it's easy. But a lot of the time when we're doing those like prohibitive like call outs or gestures, that's very much like in the unconscious space where it's like the words just came out of your mouth while you were thinking about something else because it's just automated, and you end up learning so much about like how you must have been treated when you were small.
Exactly. No, compassion for that.
Yeah. And the opportunity to strategize and be like, okay, well, when I was small, maybe they should have just let me chase a chicken.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of little things. But I got to say something really profound last night. Oh, wow. I was like, yeah, as soon as you like continue this work, I shouldn't say so, as you continue this work of letting him just be more, like it's gonna help me because he wants to cry and you tell him to stop crying and be a big boy kind of thing. I want to cry, and I feel like if I cry, you're gonna look at me and say the same thing. And so as you can be allowing him to just be, it's gonna allow me to just be. And that hit her like a ton of freaking bricks.
That's beautiful.
It was so nice.
Yeah, there's so much like potential for rewriting the stories that we've already logged in the body through like visiting that with intention, and children bring that out so much.
Exactly. They're like, that's what they're meant for, basically.
Yeah, as we recycle ourselves over and over.
How old are your kids?
My daughter is 12 and my son is about to turn 9.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they're great.
What school's not though?
You know, she's doing really well. She was doing better than I did by a long shot, I would say.
That's cool.
Yeah. My son is home with me. So I end up these days. I used to do like 5 days a week, and I'm coming to the clinic pretty back-to-back all weekend, and then I come in on Wednesdays because I have a lot of clients who need to do it twice a week. And so I'm trying to create enough space for them to keep a rhythm up, but
yeah,
I'm out of the treatment room more and more of the time as things settle out.
I forgot to say my IT band, obviously, like, who doesn't have that many guests as some people do?
Yeah. Any one thing, there are people who have every different variation, but yeah, I pick up your IT band for sure.
Yeah, I forgot to say that. And the only thing that's been really weird is like my stomach lately. Man, it feels like the whole nervous system central organ down in there. And I feel like it's just tension. It just feels like tension in my stomach. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I feel my heartbeat in my stomach.
Yes. We call that the abdominal aorta.
Yeah.
And so it's a super large blood vessel that's passing directly from your heart, trying to carry a lot of fresh fluid out into the visceral organs and also into the legs eventually. And so you can pick that up. There's some really cool, like ancient, like traditional Chinese medicine avenues that end up using that for a lot of information. Like I'm sure you're familiar with like reading tongue color patterns and like some of those different.
No.
Okay. Yeah, just different things where when people were really tuned into the minutiae of the information you could get from the outside of the body, because we didn't have as much ability to look inside, like mechanically, right?
Yeah.
And so there's so much expression of how your cells are metabolizing and functioning and like living and dying within you, right?
Yeah.
That's externalized on some level. And so one of the really cool traditional Chinese medicine approaches that I have heard of, I can't say I like practice it, but really goes into that like abdominal pulse work and paying attention to that. And there's a whole codification of like what it means when it's centered in different places, responding different ways and stuff.
That's cool. Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that I might need to look into. What's it called?
The structure is the abdominal aorta. I can't think off my head what the
Chinese
would be. But yeah, I believe it falls within maybe Ayurvedic.
Yeah, probably.
It's something that I just like happened to cross more passively. But yeah, it's a really interesting structure that can give some cool information, somatic wisdom. This IT band, I would say, is more engaged.
Yeah, I'm having to do some transmuting.
Yeah. Feel your breath shift as you hit that acceptance. And we can always slow down too if it just feels like it's work. We can go slower and it'll be easier.
No, I like that it feels like work sometimes. If it doesn't feel like work at least at all, then I wonder if I really worked anything through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to know that you're like getting a mechanical effect as well as an energetic effect. And I think that intensity is really healthy too. That like for the same reason that cold showers can really tone the nervous system.
Exactly.
Like we need those occasions of the information that we're taking in getting
strong contrast.
Volume. Yeah, strong contrast is a good way to say that.
Contrast is very helpful. Without it, you can't see anything. Yeah. And it's very enjoyable to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Shoot, yeah.
It's cool to...
Man, I get to talk about massage and get a massage. I mean, this is maybe the best thing ever.
I know, it's basically what I want to do all the time. It's just like run a camera and talk about massage and do massage. The more I do it, the more I'm like, why wasn't I always doing this? It's fun for me. Yeah, so this structure, just to keep kind of observing here, is the tension pattern on this leg is a little more disorganized. I wouldn't exactly even say that it's more tense than the other side, but on this side we're having like each muscle is fairly smooth, where the muscle fibers are behaving really similarly across the board. So each one is acting quite like its immediate neighbor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
On this side, the muscle fibers are a little more anarchy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, where they're kind of having to call their own shot and just do their best individually, getting less of the benefit of the collective. So that kind of makes me wonder if you've ever had a impact injury into the hip or like hip socket.
The only thing that's coming through is like I fell out of a tree when I was a kid. But I think I fell straight on my back.
Straight on your back.
Yeah, like I fell like and it knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah.
So
I would say it's not a super dramatic effect. It's just something that I can.
Well, they had to carry me into the house, and I went unconscious, so it was pretty.
So that was dramatic. That event
it was
dramatic.
pretty.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I wrestled a little bit, but I didn't really get any injuries. I didn't really do anything else. Got in a car accident where I had a little like whiplash, but that wouldn't be hip. I'm just trying to think hip.
You know, you never know. People can really come out of like any situation where you get a little bit bounced. You really never know what other area of the body contracted to try to stabilize during that bounce, and it can really be wired in. And so that's like kind of the literal effect of when people are talking about like the body keeps a score kind of ideas, right, of embodied trauma is like the muscle fibers are literally being communicated with by neural tissue. And those neurons that are running right up into the muscle groupings are like not all that qualitatively different from what's in your brain. Like there's no reason to think that they can't beholding like memories as we would recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I believe the trauma memories are stored in the physical body. Absolutely. Right? Yeah, no, that's been my experience. I'll work on someone and then they'll be crying and I'll be like, well, hello, I would like to hold space for you and slow down and feel into this. And it's not just a pain thing, it's an emotional release that's so powerful. Yeah.
Really common.
And that's obviously why you say the mind and the body stuff. I'm sure you do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Very, very overlapping. Yeah. I do have, like I'm pretty careful to not represent that I'm treating mental health conditions as such.
right. You're like, I'm not licensed for that.
Right. Yeah. But I do work with people who have a lot of different mental health conditions, and I get to lay hands on that and get the pattern over time of like, I don't know, that now that I'm thinking about that, I want to like set up an experiment and like, this sounds so ridiculous, but bear with me. What if I could do an experiment where I was like somehow blind, like double blind, but like identifying somebody who had like a active clinical diagnosis of anxiety versus depression or whatever. Like, I don't know, like I wouldn't promise like, yes, I can always diagnose by touch only, but
like 90% or something maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like I typically, like I don't think that hard about it and I wouldn't write it down as documentation because it's like, that's not like scientific. I'm not going to submit that to insurance companies, so there's no reason for me to write down those impressions.
Yeah.
But like I'm almost never surprised when people start telling me like, yeah, I was really depressed for this window of time fairly recently, or like, yeah, I have anxiety. Like if they've been on the table, I kind of already knew that.
Man, yesterday I was depressed like crazy.
Yeah, getting a low. It
was such a surprise too. I was like, what? I just have no purpose in life. What the hell am I doing? I just was so existential on it. It was crazy.
That's such a like double-edged sword of what you like throw in for like, what will the universe bring me?
Yup.
Then you're just like,
nothing.
We trade off those days of like, what am I even doing?
Yes, exactly. But thankfully I had some people who were so helpful.
Totally.
In this space.
And there's a lot of wisdom in the process. Whether it's forever or for a time or whatever, but okay. So still kind of on the vein of this IT band, this amount of shift that we're getting as we drop the femur into a more rotated position. It's telling me that we have a lot of constriction more in the front of the hip too. So I'm gonna just kind of grab this and bring some awareness. Sometimes I'm doing like mechanical adjustment, but so much of it is honestly like, I point out that you have nerve endings here by making them go, and then you just like
awareness.
Exactly.
My body does it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the kind of consciousness-based medicine models generally.
Otherwise, it's too hard on you.
Right.
She's like, I need your body to heal itself. I can't heal it.
Right. I'm very busy healing my own body.
Yeah, exactly.
Which brings me back around to like the mirror neuron question as well, though. Like I feel like when I really deliberately activate my like parasympathetic, like somatic awareness while I'm working on someone and kind of go into that like meditative place of allowing my own body to start that healing frequency. But a lot of times like people like instantly start snoring when I make the mental decision to do that, then they're like, bye.
Dude, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. Yep. It's been happening with multiple people for me lately. It's like just consistent knockout. And that's been very validating as I've been like getting the message that that's like a good thing. Well, not necessarily good, but that it's ideally indicating a benefit was received of relaxation.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I definitely believe that. But there's all different styles, there's different levels of what you need depending on where people are coming from, but like the guided meditation aspect of massage is really, really important to me. That like people kind of struggle to get into a true parasympathetic state when they're just laying there trying to hold themselves still, and they don't have a super clear idea of what it's going to feel like when it clicks in, right? And so setting the, like almost guiding into the place where they can experience the state and learn to recognize the state of meditation through that like guided body scanning experience. I've seen just really launch some people that were like so struggling with overcoming different like embodied trauma aspects or like not knowing how to begin the embodiment process.
Yeah, if you're new to it, I guess it'd be overwhelming.
When do you think you started? Like, when did you kind of click into the need to get to know your own body and really live in it?
I mean, I guess I would say it probably coincides with my spiritual awakening in general. Like in like last 2 years, like 23 minus, like 5 years maybe. Yeah, I got divorced. I like realized I was like open and I don't like the word poly, but just not monogamous.
Sure.
Not that I don't like agreements, but I just don't like the cultural narrative of monogamy.
Yeah, and having tried it, it was not for you.
Correct.
The version that you were experiencing was not for you.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful version. There's still so much love there. I get to call her and tell her I love her anytime, which is great. But
that's awesome.
As she actually was monogamous, I was like, whoa, I don't want to hold you back. Whoa, whoops. And then she's like, well, I don't want to hold you back either. I'm like, okay, then we're just gonna have a different kind of love now.
Yeah. How long had you been married when that came up?
Like 7 years, 7.5 years. But then, yeah, I like met some other people. I started just blooming and blossoming in a lot of different ways. And, doing body work for people and doing like just having profound experiences. Like,
yeah.
I'm a big stoner, so I really like smoking weed, and so I would like just invite people over, like, hey, if you want to do a dab and like a bunch of body work anytime, you know? And because I love it.
Yeah, I get that.
And I had this woman, Nicole, that I was working on, and like, this is like the first time my Reiki really kicked. Well, maybe like this like the second or third time, but like, I created like an energy bridge from the left side of her spine to the right side of her spine.
Cool.
I didn't know why it was necessary, even what I was doing, but I was just like, this is imbalanced, so I'm going to let both sides talk to each other and figure out this balance thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that literally like straightened it, aligned, and removed all the pain from her spine. She like freaked out, and I was like, she's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I can show you my hand shape that I did, but like, it's not really. I mean,
exactly.
I can tell you my intention even, and that doesn't even quite do it. I don't really know. But
was that, had you like studied some energy work stuff, or that was you just spontaneously?
Purely intuitive.
So,
and I've consciously not studied it because I don't want to like quote unquote learn what is the thing, because I am the thing and they're just learning me, and I just don't want to. It just feels like it's gonna like put me in a box of like, here's what you're supposed to do when you do the thing that we're teaching you to do, and I'm like, there's no supposed to in my life. I don't work with supposed to's. It doesn't. And the whole energy of learning is very entwined with supposed to often.
Definitely. And like for that kind of thing, you have to leave open the experimentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a balance though. Like they're right. Like they're teaching you foundations that are helpful to work on.
Sure.
So I know that I don't have the strongest foundations that way, but.
How many hours on average would you say you're like laying on hands right now?
Now?
Like in a week?
If I'm lucky, like 8 hours.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Like counting any like, you know, like foreplay stuff or whatever where you're
Yeah,
like
oh, yeah.
energetically
Oh,
tuned
yeah.
into another body. Yeah.
Well,
Like add that in now.
I mean, I don't know about that. Couldn't even put a number on that.
Okay.
If I'm awake, I'm tuned into something.
Right?
But I like since Lokia and Yav gotten here, I've been able to do more body work on them, and I do body work on love, and even just today, like Moses was sitting there, and I felt his back. And there's a thing there that just need clearing, so I just cleared it real quick. But on most weeks when if I'm in Oakland in an RV sitting by myself, I don't do any work. It drives me. I mean, other than myself, which is a few hours, but
Yeah.
well, I'd say it fluctuates between like an hour and like maybe like 10 hours if I'm like cooking.
So I definitely celebrate that you like keep working on yourself even when the like social environment is not manifesting for you.
Dude, that's all I have to work on is myself. So I'm just like, I'll be sitting there with people who are just, drinking coffee in the morning or whatever, and I'm like aligning my spine and like doing all this stuff. It's just a constant. Just a constant.
What kind of colors do you see when you close your eyes?
Right now it's pretty light. It's pretty like white.
Do you get like geometric kind of shapes ever?
Ever? Yeah, but
not stoned or just stoned?
Honestly, the problem is that I don't get stoned anymore.
Okay.
That's why I really need to take a break. I really did.
Gotcha.
It's weird to be proud of having a high tolerance, but I was. Like, I can smoke weed with anybody, and I don't have to ask them how strong it is. It's fun. I never have to worry, and I can smoke more than they can probably. And it's just like, why does my ego care about that? Like, why is that? So that's an interesting thing.
Totally. It's a really, really direct question.
Yeah.
The clues.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. Like, when I close my eyes, I usually don't see much. I usually just figure it's like just the light that I was looking at that's stuck in my eyes,
And kind of residue, screen burn.
Right, exactly. That's mostly what I get.
Do you have any like auditory sensations ever? I'm like feeling around because if you've got those kind of tactile or like electromagnetic where you're pulling in on other people's fields, then that starts me wondering what else might you have?
Yeah, I'm a blind person spiritually. I'm very blind.
Okay.
There's people who see all kinds of things. I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. I can do 2 tabs of acid and still not see a damn thing like that.
Ah, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that, starts the question, how do you get somebody signing into your hand?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Well, no, I do have a lot of confidence with it. It's the parts, and they're like 1 pang for yes, 2 pangs for no. That's easy.
Yeah. Do you do like muscle testing stuff ever?
I have, yeah. I'm not as confident with that. It's like my hand will support whatever
I think that's a hard one to self-administer for most people. Yeah. Kind of keep stretching out arms a little bit, shuffling around, pulling some. Resistance right in there, yeah, and then nice here.
And that's the not. Ooh, wow, that's nice.
Burning straight across.
And it's hard to work with my own arms because I can only use one hand with my arm.
Yeah.
That's why I put my arms on for them potentially energetically stuck because we can't. Because
two-handed with it.
Totally. You have good flexibility though. Like, do you do some like yoga or kind of deliberate stretching practice?
I live yoga. I'm so pretentious sometimes with the truth of my answers. I'm like, I don't want to sound this way, but like, I literally, same way I don't learn massage, I don't learn yoga because I live it. I don't know how to go to a pose because my body knows what I want, and if I listen to it, I just move my whatever it wants me. Fine.
I can understand that. Yeah.
That's me. Because my body might actually give me more information than other people's bodies might. So I might actually need to learn yoga to be able to know.
That definitely can be true.
It just, when I go to a yoga class, I get most of it because that's all my perception of it.
The energy is.
I'm not well received because I'm like not gonna get pose. The last pose we're doing, we do that for twice as long. In fact, I'm gonna make a new variation on that and just mess around with that.
So a little anarchy.
Like, but aren't you supposed to be doing what we're doing? Like, no. And then there's classes where they're like, okay, this part we all have to do it together, and I'll just very respectfully leave. It's like I don't need disrespect. I just have to honor my body on a level that's like confusing and frustrating to me because I don't want to see disrespect.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people that are just like not getting as much information, and so following the instructions is not a conflict with the internal. Yeah. Yeah, that right-handed, the like neurology here is a little different on the other side for sure. Pretty well stretched out. Yeah.
I did just get a massage already this week, so that did help.
That is
Probably
the
got
best.
like a lot of the high level stuff out of the way. So,
Yeah. And I'm like not doing a ton of trigger point stuff right now. I'm finding myself just checking out the whole structure, balancing a little bit. How are you feeling?
Great.
Okay.
Yes, super relaxing. Thank you for a second. Actually, I was like, yeah, I want that gone. I want it gone. As much as I can handle do it. Like, yeah.
There we go. Movement in the shoulder girdle. Like that.
Body centers. Body mind center. It's what
Does sound familiar.
it like will like take your leg and just like rock it back and forth for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a really, oh my god, it's a beautiful modality. It's so relaxing. It's like the wave of the ocean, but like a person just for like
That like literal vibration type approach is like so, yeah, like so neurologically soothing and really slows down. I think it's really recommended for people who are dealing with like ADHD type stuff. Hyper cognition, getting stuck in the head, monkey mind, all that.
yeah. Especially like this.
Then pulling on like my pinky to try to like get that side extending, because that's what I realized.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Detecting that it's the pinky leveraging on that medial wrist intersection there.
Kicked one person a hand roll once, and they looked at me and they're like, "I can breathe better now." And I was like,
It's probably true.
no, they were telling me.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
like,
Yeah,
I didn't think that was going to be a hand rub result.
Yeah. Well, like reflexology, right? Like all the organs do the feet. There's like the hand point, exactly. Yeah, auriculotherapy they call it when it's the ear base. Right?
I got it.
Yeah. Alright. You want to keep flossing your arms and spend a little more time on your neck, but I see my next person is showing up out there, so I'm gonna just gotta wrap up here. Together. Right. And I'll just kind of splash this scent into the air. I don't usually narrate this part, but in my mind, I like to call it the spiritual inhaler. And so, if you can imagine, you've been like coming in for this every week or so for like 4 or 5 months. The like emotional impact of getting hit with that scent gets more and more intense over time, right? Pavlovian conditioning, and so when we build that up. And that's the bell. Alright, take your time, Luke, and I'll take the camera with me to step out. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Biggest trick ever.
Great, do that again with your face showing. Thank you.